Western music from the 1600s through the 1800s had been melodic and pleasing to the ear. European composers such as Johann Sebastian Bach, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, and Frédéric Francois Chopin, just to name a few, all composed beautiful music. Arnold Schoenberg, who was born in 1874 to Samuel and Pauline, wanted a radical shift from the past music traditions. In the early 1900s, in Vienna, Austria, Schoenberg began composing his first major pieces of music. He wrote atonal music, meaning not tonal. His music is full of dissonances and was not intended to and did not please most listeners. Therefore, his music was controversial. His musical style is now accepted, though he is still debated today. Schoenberg lived a very troubled life and had recurring thoughts of suicide, largely because he was treated as a lower class because he was Jewish. His music has a depressed, despairing sound, which reflects his life. Schoenberg also painted and made drawings, many of which also reflect his life, as seen, for example, in the works Tears, Hatred, and Red Gaze. Some of his other artworks include The Burial of Gustav Mahler, Vision, Blue Self-Portrait, and Gaze. He also had a friendship with some expressionist painters such as Vasily Kandinsky, Franz Marc, and Paul Klee, who also influenced his musical style. Through his music, Schoenberg wanted to express himself and give people a new experience that he said was impossible by means of traditional music. However, the public threatened every new step taken in music, especially in Vienna. Most people did not like Schoenberg's music. There were riots at many of his concerts, during which people blew loudly on whistles and small fistfights broke out. The public also protested in Austrian Parliament when Schoenberg was given a minor position at the Vienna Royal Academy of Music. Critics accused Schoenberg of violating the natural laws of music. One critic even shouted out during one of Schoenberg's concerts, "Stop it! Enough!" People thought of him in such a manner because his music had many unpleasing sounds, was random, and did not continue the tradition of serious music. However, as said before, it was not Schoenberg's intent to please the listeners. His 5 piano pieces, Opus 23, is no exception of his atonal work. People even thought that through his music Schoenberg was promoting socialism, particularly in his own method he invented, 12-tone composition, which, rather than having a key signature, he assigns equal importance to all 12 notes in the octave. University professor and composer Easley Blackwood called Schoenberg the Karl Marx of music, who led music down the wrong path. However, Schoenberg claimed he was not promoting socialism at all. Dr. Francis Schaeffer, in his book How Should We Then Live, said, addressing how Schoenberg's music often ends with no resolution, "This stands in sharp contrast to Bach, who, on his biblical base, had much diversity, but always resolution. Bach's music had resolution because as a Christian he believed that there will be resolution both for each individual and for history." Schoenberg claimed to be of the Jewish faith and lived a very depressed life, from admitting that his only hope was that his life would be over soon to his thoughts of suicide. He clearly needed to put his faith in Jesus Christ. His music is also very limited as to the variety of emotions it expresses. It expresses fear, depression, anxiety, sorrow, and hopelessness, all very well, but not happiness, beauty, goodness, or a sense of greatness. Schoenberg, however, is not without his praise. An opera titled Gerlieder, meaning Songs of Ger, was very well received. The crowd wept during the premiere of it, and following it, Schoenberg received an ovation that lasted a quarter of an hour. Early critic Paul Rosenfeld loved Schoenberg's work and found it beautiful. Critic Paul Griffiths described one of Schoenberg's works as glorious and overwhelming. Schoenberg moved to America in 1933, where he received an award from the American Academy of Arts in 1947 and had the Schoenberg Institute at the University of Southern California named in his own honor after his death in 1951. Schoenberg is also not without his impacts on history. He started a new genre of music, 12-tone composition, with which his two most famous pupils, Alban Berg and Anton Webern, composed much music. 12-tone composition and similar things were being taught around the world. Schoenberg also left more long-term impacts. He influenced many composers such as John Cage, Philip Glass, even Bela Bartok and Igor Stravinsky. He broadened music, and many composers started to compose similarly to Schoenberg, and to even do some new things, such as Philip Glass's 8 Minutes of Silence at the piano. Schoenberg is considered the most controversial composer in the history of Western music. His works are still performed today, though he is still debated in some areas. However, Schoenberg is now an accepted composer, though many people today still do not like his music and find it hard to listen to. Schoenberg's music was a success in that it is now accepted and still performed with zeal and enthusiasm. However, it failed because of all the controversy that surrounded his music and that still somewhat does surround it. Schoenberg is a very unique composer in the long line of composers of Western music and is an important one to know about if a person would like to broaden their knowledge about the history of Western music.